Oh, because it never changes, man. Oh, it's called being a creature of habit.
Creature of habit. What a great song.
What a great song.
What a great song. What a great time. You smell really nice too.
Thanks, man. I like the shirt.
Thanks, dude.
Maybe I'll just be fucked up forever.
Well, I don't think they can see the bottom bit. It does say maybe be fucked up forever.
Yep.
It's a bit of an emotional shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
You like the fit?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's the full,
Yeah.
you got the...
Very oversized, big
Yeah,
boxy. We like we like that.
Yeah, Spotify sucks to suck, man.
It does. Welcome back to the new episode of the Split Shift podcast, where we cut through the bullshit and the noise of the fitness industry. My name is Daniel.
My name is Jamie. Oh my God. I'm so...
When did we start doing that?
When?
The name thing.
I don't know. There was one episode, I think one of us said it.
I remember specifically, you said it, and I fucking lost it.
But you know what the funny part was? That was an accident.
I know.
I don't know how.
Did he just call himself Jamie?
I just called myself Jamie. I don't know how that happened, but now it's just like a running joke. So if you can go back and let us know what that episode was, we'll greatly appreciate it. But we're back. We took another week off. This is probably getting a little too comfortable, if I'm honest. I'm not really feeling confident right now, but here we are.
We're here. I think that, I'm not going away anymore.
Yeah.
No. Not like a Thursday.
Yeah.
Or a Monday, I should say, because you guys are seeing this on Monday.
True.
So, / listening on a Monday.
Well, they should probably know where do we go.
Also, I would love to know what day of the week you actually watch the episode. Is it like when you're cleaning your car on a Sunday?
Much on the new Split Ship Potty episode, you know?
Is it when you're on the treadmill on a Wednesday morning? Like, when is it? I'm double parked. What am I going to do?
Friday evening with some wines, because shout out. We went to the snow again.
Oh, fuck.
And we had a very good time. We did a lot of tree lopping.
Oh, there was plenty of tree lopping. Oh, my days.
Yeah. Horticulture is now my top priority in life.
Oh, man.
Just trees.
Ate a shitload of snow.
Yeah.
There was a lot of eating it. Not the yellow snow, regular white snow. We went very fast and stopped very fast as well.
Yeah, there was no lemonade in those snow, that's for sure. But
what are we doing today, man?
We are doing a new episode, and we're doing a couple.
He's so right. He's so right all the time.
I know. I'm on the button. We are doing a couple questions. We have a couple questions for Jamie. Has a question for me. I have a question for him.
Ooh.
And we're going to dissect what this common question, common thing that people may talk about. I've definitely heard. My question I'm going to give to Jimbo. I've heard that a lot of times in the past. I'm sure the one he is going to give me. I've probably heard that too. So, and we're just going to piece it out and look to see why is that question a thing, and how do we navigate with it? And if you're stuck in there, maybe it'll help you out. So, I'm going to shoot the first question.
Let's do it. We also have 6 minutes.
Yeah.
To keep this episode nice and tight, because we're already 4 minutes in.
Correct.
And we know, again, as always, TikTok brain.
TikTok brain.
But you guys have fucking the attention spans of a pigeon.
6 minute timer. So you know it's going to be, of course, 9 minutes. So let's do this. My question for you,
after a 6 always comes a 9.
True. It's a good combo.
Somewhere in the alphabet.
I've got a question for you.
Tell me. What's the question?
Why is it easier to disappoint myself than disappoint other people?
Why is it easier to disappoint myself than disappoint other people? Because you're a people pleaser. That's extremely common. That's where a lot of people come unstuck in general, particularly when they have dependents, children, partners, this, that, and the other, even friends, But it will often come back to that people-pleasing side of things. So often people get in this mindset where if they're not showing up for others, then they have no value, So they fear being selfish, coming off as, difficult, or coming off as lazy, and they mask all that and they abandon their own needs and call it being a good person. I'm just being a good person,
Shit.
They abandon everything that, goes into them taking care of themselves because they're being a good person. Why is that being a good person? Who fucking knows? circles around that with that people-pleasing attitude, and that is their identity. What would be a good metaphor for this? I'm throwing a little metaphor in there all the time. Because I've had a shitload of clients that deal with this exact fucking issue because it is so common, because we're social creatures and we care about other people typically more than we care about ourselves. But when it does go to that extent, I've used one with a client where we're talking about how it's like if you were an Uber driver. Let's say your destination is, I want to drive to Sydney from Wollongong. I want to drive to Sydney, but I'm an Uber driver. So all I'm doing is picking up people along the way, picking up, my kids, I'm picking up my husband, I'm picking up my friend, driving them to where they need to go. And then by the end of the day, you're canceling your own trip. So you never actually get into that destination. But then you're like, I'll try it again tomorrow. You drive out tomorrow, you're like, all right, I'm on shift. I just got to get to Sydney. Oh, bring. Oh, okay, I've got to go pick up the kids again. Oh, no, my Aunt Janet needs to get picked up, taken to the hospital or some shit. Actually, you should probably drive her to the hospital. But, also, you can get some other Uber together there if you need to. End of the day again, you cancel your own trip. And then this becomes a pattern over and over and over again until that becomes just who you are. You end up becoming that person that does everything for everybody else, but never ends up following through with what you need to do for yourself so you can become that version of you that you want to be. Super common and super fucking annoying as well. Your people pleasing is your default. So that's your default state. That's just who you've always been. Maybe you were brought up and your mum was the same. She'd be running around for everybody, but then she'd never get time to actually do her own thing for herself. So you may have picked that up from childhood, but it doesn't need to be your default anymore. Now that you've picked it up and you've asked the Split Shift podcast, we can actually do something about it. When you're in that state, often people will fear judgment from others. Like I said earlier, they fear being looked at as lazy or selfish. When in actual fact, the people probably don't give a fuck. And if you told them legitimately what you were doing and why you were doing it, they'd probably be extremely supportive if they did care about you. So it's important to understand that being reliable for others is not a flex when it means you're being unreliable to yourself. I'm so reliable. I'm just a reliable person. You might be repeating in your head. When you're not showing up for yourself or you're being unreliable to you, that is not a flex. It is not cool. And you're going to end up burning your relationship with yourself in the long run. All right. So it's important that we wrap that up real quick and change how we frame that whole area. It's important that you also understand that you don't lack time. You just lack the proof that you matter to yourself. So you're not lacking time. It's not that you're too busy. That's not the issue. You don't lack time, you lack the proof that you actually matter. So what we need to do immediately is prove to you that you matter. And that's by showing up with those small wins, which we talk about all the fucking time. We can break this up into a few steps. I'd say the first one is when you make a promise to yourself, make it as though someone else is watching. Or make it as though you're making a promise to one of those people that you actually care about, like your kids or your partner. That you will do anything to show up for because that's your top value. Make that promise as though you were promising them, and then from there, make sure you're shrinking that commitment. We talk about this very, very often, Shrink the commitment. If you think that you need to go to the gym for an hour, shrink it down to 15 minutes and try to repeat it every day, Showing up for yourself in some way every day, even a small bit, even for 5 minutes, will train your subconscious mind and prove to your subconscious mind that you actually matter, because that is what you're missing, So you also need to change the response. I had this conversation with one of my clients a couple of weeks ago. And if she will definitely fucking watch this as well. Her thing was she was almost exactly this. She was showing up for her daughter-in-law and her son, but she was not allocating the time for herself. She would have this shit booked in, which could have been a gym session. And she would be like, oh, but this person needed to get dropped off here. Oh, this person needed food for this, whatever. So she just scrap it. And she didn't know how to break that. So what we started doing is changing the response, changing her default response from, yes, of course, I'll be there in a second. I'll just push my gym session later, which never ends up happening. Her default response went to asking a question. Oh, okay, well, I've actually got a gym session booked in then, but I can do that later if you need me to. That way the responsibility is on the person instead of on you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh no, do your gym session, pick me up later, that's fine. Damn it. You know, it puts the decision making on them. So that way you're not feeling this, I guess, guilt of, oh, you know, I'm saying no to them. You're not saying no to them. It's saying, oh, this is actually what I was going to do. But if you need this right now, I will do that for you. Odds are they're probably going to be like, no, it'll wait. Don't worry about it. That's fine. And then also making sure that you align it all with your values. So making sure that you understand that if you can show up for yourself, you're going to be able to show up better for the people and things you care about. Talk about that so much. Aligning it with the things that you actually care about. If I go to the gym, if I start taking care of my food and start giving time to myself for my mental and physical health, how much better am I going to be able to show up for them? How much better am I going to be able to perform at work when I'm actually happy in my own skin? And that's how the cookie crumbles. And that's how we do it.
Very nice. That's a good one. That's a very, very good one.
We actually did all right for a couple of weeks off.
Yeah.
I was like,
rolled up the tongue with that one. It was good. Yeah. I liked it. I think that's I've definitely struggled in the past a lot with people pleasing. Sometimes it can be
He's very good at people pleasing. If you know what I'm saying, very pleasing.
Subscribe to the Patreon. But no, I absolutely agree with that. I think what comes after the tall poppy, it's coming. The issue with,
I bet he's going to say something about tall poppy syndrome.
oh, crazy. That's crazy. How'd you know? So when if you're like listen to this episode and you are a people pleaser, and like myself, I tend to catch myself think about other people rather than thinking about myself. And it's really hard to out-train that unless you do take tangible steps, right? Chances are you'll actually set a firm boundary of who your actual people are as well. Because when you do a lot of things for other people, they might take advantage of it, like depending on who you are, obviously, but they might take advantage of it. They might think of Jamie is super reliable. He'll do that for me, no worries. As soon as you start to set those firmer boundaries to think about yourself more, you start to actually filter out who are those people in your life that actually serve you as well. Now, obviously, you make the judgment of that, so how you want to navigate with that. But there's something called a tall poppy effect, or a tall poppy effect, or maybe even more, maybe not so much as that, but more so it's like a shock to their system, thinking they're like, oh, Dan's not reliable anymore. He's actually doing his thing, and they might even tend to guilt trip you, or do things along the lines of that. And just be wary that the people that do care about you, at least with my experience, the people that genuinely do care about you and know your well-being, they understand you as a person, they probably won't do that. They'll probably get you. They'll probably understand where you're going, and they'll be in full support of you. The people that aren't probably just do that to take advantage of you. And it's really important to recognize that, because a lot of times people can fall back, and this has happened to me so many times. I've fallen back into the trap of thinking about taking care of myself, and then I got knocked down by people through guilt tripping, and I reverted back to my people-pleasing ways. Because I felt validated, and it felt good, and I felt like a piece of shit doing something that I wanted to do for me. And so just always important to acknowledge that there's going to be met with external resistances, and you can ultimately decide what you want to do with that too. So I think it's very important to recognize where do you draw the line and who serves you externally too.
100%.
Yeah.
And once you start getting a bit of a roll on, you start making a bit of progress in that area, you'll be able to catch that out. Because I feel like initially as well,
massively,
it might be hard to catch that out because you got these blinders on where you're just like, or even these rose-colored glasses where you're like, oh no, it's fine, everything's fine. I just want to do things for others. That's fine. And you might not be able to see those people that are actually guilting you into those things. So make the non-negotiable. I will do something for myself every single day, regardless of what it is. And then just add a little bit of protection to that. Ask them the question instead of just being like, yes. Just never just say yes. You need to protect that and get that self-respect back, where it's like, this is worth more than just a yes to everything else. This is worth at least a question. Oh, do you need that right now, or can I go do this for me? Literally just that. And then it'll start breaking them down a little bit, and then you'll see who actually matters. Exactly that.
Nice. I love it. And also I love the mention of the values part, lining it back to your values. And that's something that I did with, actually recently with one of with my clients as well. She's a mum and big people pleaser. She'll do everything for her kids and for the family. And like, I think that's so fucking awesome as well. That's like obviously a stage of my life that I'm unfamiliar with. I'm not a dad yet, but down the track, I'm sure you can obviously, if you're a role as a parent or something along the lines of that, you're going to be putting people beyond you at that point, right? And that could be another challenge in itself. But I love the reframing of thinking of it. And this is exactly what I said to her. I said, you're not doing it against them. You're doing it for them. You know, you're doing these things to show up for you is going to show up better for them. What you actually value, what you truly care about. Because it's not just about the gym session. It's not just about maybe losing the weight or getting a little bit stronger. That's all the byproduct of these things. But it's ultimately bigger than that, where you're doing something for you that's bigger than you.
Fuck yeah.
That makes sense?
Hell yeah.
Next question.
Wrapped up. Next question. Last question. Hope you got a little bit of value from that. You know, a lot of people are in that position. I think it's very, very relevant, and I'm glad that was asked. All right, Darnell. Why is the voice in my head always telling me I'm not doing enough?
Why are the voices in my head telling me that I'm not doing enough? Is what I'm saying? Man, that's a big one. It's a very common one. Very, very common one. And that is, fuck, you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot, this self-worth, this identity-based question, or this negative self-talk. And yeah, it's very, very, very common. And it can be really tough to be able to break, because that is, even the things that our brain says to us is its own saboteur to protect us. And it ultimately, I knew you were going to do that.
Did you?
Yep. It ultimately hinders people's progress and actually makes them feel stuck, because their voice in their head is telling them, you're not enough, you're not worthy of this, and just stay where you are now. And obviously it sucks, you know, and how do you break through that? Because it's your own voice telling you this. So I want you to think of it as like, there's one analogy, and I've again used, you know, I've spoken with my client about this as well. Turns out we're using car analogies a lot. But this, I use it as called the broken fuel gauge. Think of it as like, you're going from this destination to this destination, but your fuel gauge is broken. You keep trying to get to there. You're still moving forward. You're still doing the thing, but your fuel gauge is fucked. And it's keep telling you that you're on empty. It's keep telling you that you're this, you're that, but you're still moving forward. And then what people will do is that they think they have to double down, or that they try to prove it wrong, whatever it may be. And they will, but they try to keep topping up, but they're still, fuel gauge is saying that it's empty, it's empty, it's empty. That's that voice in our head. And that's something that we need to address, because it's not necessarily the actions that needs to happen. Of course, that's the tangible things, but we got to change the fuel gauge. We got to fix that shit first. So when we're looking to change that, I'm going to get to that a little bit later. Key things we need to remember is that when we're falling into this self-talk, this negative self-talk that you're not enough, it generally, like, I don't know, it's obviously this is a big can of worms in itself, but a lot of times it revolves around comparison. Just comparing yourself to heaps of things. It can be social media, it can be, you know, what you're absorbing through your peers, through your circle, whatever it may be. And it's like, people are up here and I'm here, I'm not enough, because other people are doing way better than me. And this is one of those cases where comparison truly is the thief of joy, because it's like you're comparing apples and oranges. You're comparing two different things, two different circumstances, two different lives, where it ultimately doesn't serve you, but because you can only see what the result is. And when they see the result, they're like, I'm just not enough. Like, they're doing so much better. They've trained less than me. They're already lifting more, or they've already lost weight faster than me. What the fuck's the point? And if you're a person that's caught in that comparison trap, is reframe that. Reframe that way of thinking by, instead of comparing others, compare you to your past self. Compare yourself to your previous versions of yourself in the past. And what I mean by comparing, I wouldn't say necessarily just, you know, like the vanity side of it, like weights, clothing size, things like that. But think of it more of like your mindset. Think of it more of like your energy. Think of more of like your vitality, how you show up every day, your routine, all these things when you're looking at the bigger picture in health and fitness and what this vehicle of health and fitness does and offers to you for the, for you as a person. Look into those things. Chances are when you look back a year ago to now, you're like, holy fuck, I've actually changed a lot. Changed a heaps amount. I'm actually waking up at the same time every day. I'm able to play with my kids after school when before I just lay on the couch. Stuff like that. That is where a good comparison can be. The other thing when it comes to being not enough is not acknowledging your current circumstances especially acknowledging your wins as well. So something that, and this is something that I'm really guilty of, guilty of doing is shifting goalposts and constantly not acknowledging what I've done right now. Because I've tied my self-worth to the next thing. And I've tied my self-worth to the next thing. But essentially you're chasing you're trying to finish an event that's never going to end because you're always moving the goalpost forward. So what we need to be able to look to with that case is to really acknowledge what we've actually achieved. And again, what Jimbo just said last for his question, wins are so important and extremely underrated because we're in this culture of just like, go hard, move to the next thing, hustle, grind, whatever it may be, locked in. You can do all these things, right? But you're also thinking about things moving forward or things in front of you. But we never really acknowledge where we are now, also what we've achieved behind us. So having at least getting to a system and routine where you can acknowledge those wins, it can be small wins, even big wins, mostly small wins as well, because big wins only show up periodically. Every few months I've lost that 10 kilo mark. That's a big win. Fitting into clothing I didn't fit in 20 years ago. That's a big win. But a small win is I actually woke up 10 minutes earlier, like I said I would, and I went for my quick walk. Had my clothes there ready for me. That's a small win. I drank a bit more water today. That's a small win. So recognize what are those wins, and I highly recommend using that more of a weekly tool. Something I do with a lot of my clients. There we go. Is doing at least 3 wins every single week. And it's so potent because you're reframing or you're rewiring your way of thinking to say, I'm not enough. And you're supplying the evidence to say, I'm enough. I'm doing enough. Now, the last thing we want to remember is, before I wrap this up, is understanding identity and action. If you tie your self-worth to action, it's very hard to be able to feel good about yourself when all you're doing is chasing the action, similar to the goalpost thing. If it's just action-based, I have to do this thing, and if I don't meet it, I'm fucking shit. I'm an idiot. I'm worthless. I'm a failure. Whatever it may be. We're tying our self-worth to just action. If you tie it more to around identity, which is one of the biggest things, is thinking about the person that you are becoming. And this doesn't make it so black and white anymore. It makes it work more like a spectrum. Instead, where you're thinking like, if I tie my self-worth or even like rewire my self-talk based on the person that I'm becoming, it actually starts to become a lot more inviting, makes it a lot better for us in the long term, because that part of that version that you want to be may be doing the things that you are doing right now. That's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing. And you could, oh man, shit, I hope the camera got that. I hope the fucking mic got that.
I really hope it didn't. I'll cut that out. Keep going, sorry.
I'm mid-conversation.
I thought I was going to be quiet.
Shit. Oh, okay. So yeah, look into identity versus action. Go back to the identity. Go back to your ideal self, how you want to live in that version. What is that person doing rather than just being action? There it is.
I cannot believe that. What the fuck?
Did you move your chair or something? What was that?
No, I had to shuffle forward a little bit. Not enough, eh?
Not enough.
Not enough. Nice.
Not enough.
Well explained, sir. Very, very well
I
explained.
did say there was going to be one more, but I can't remember our time. But it's just obviously reframing your not enough to go back to that positive self-talk and thinking, what are you doing enough in? There you go. That's
yeah.
it. Happy days.
Count your wins.
Count your
in
wins.
the right way. I think the comparison thing's massive. We're in an age of social media where pretty much everybody, regardless of the age, is seeing lifestyles that are better than theirs, or people that are doing more than them, or whatever that looks like. They've got more of the things that they want. You know, they're leaner, they're fitter, they got a better car, they got a better house, they got a fucking hotter husband, or they got better looking kids, or whatever it is. There's always going to be more, and there's always going to be room for you to feel like you're not enough, or not doing enough, or not getting enough, or whatever it is. So everything that was just laid out was literally perfect. The identity thing is absolutely paramount. Finding out who you actually want to become, and then living as that, and taking the stepping stones to do that and get that, particularly along the lines of mindset and self-talk. All those little things, because physical results can come and go. You're going to get stronger, you're going to get weaker. You're going to get fitter. You're going to lose a lot of fitness as well. There'll be injuries, there'll be things like that. You might move house. There's zero benefit in tying your own self-worth to something that's not completely consistent or doesn't have a guarantee of consistency. What does have a guarantee of consistency is how you show up in your head, how you handle situations, and who you're being in that space. How do you show up when stress hits? When you get a fucking situation that just, would typically cripple you in the past, I actually handled that pretty well, and I stayed on my bullshit. I still got out, went for my walk, and made sure there was time for myself, because I know that's a priority for me. I still showed up as a good parent. I showed up as not even a good parent, I showed up as the parent that I want to be for my kids. I still went to work and applied myself the way I believed I should and the way I want to, That's the sort of shit you should be logging. So even right now, if you're asking that question, write down how you feel right now. Why do you not feel like you're enough? Get it out of your head and onto paper, and actually write it down and read it and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to keep that for later. So in 6 months' time, I can see where I felt like I wasn't showing up enough and compare. And then even now, when you do write that down, interrogate that a little bit, break it down and be like, well, that's fucking bullshit. Oh, I said, I'm only going to the gym 3 days a week, and I know Karen down the road's going 5. Okay, well, fucking 6 months ago, you were going 0. You just joined the fucking gym. You were 10 kilos overweight before as well. What the fuck's going on? Write the shit down, get it out of your head onto paper, and stop and actually analyze that stuff. Figure out what's actually going on for you, rather than just having these bullshit fucking thoughts going on in your head that will end up ruining your day. Because if you do go through all this area of your life, health and fitness in particular, feeling like you're never doing enough, you're never being enough, you're not showing up as the person that you want to show up as, you're always feeling like that, you're going to resent this area. You're going to burn the fuck out and start again and just join a new gym, start at F45 or something. Not a good idea. Make sure you're finding out what's actually going on for you, and then change your goals and base your goals around the things that actually fucking matter. How you handle situations, particularly on your bad days. Because if you can get your bad days to good just by changing how you frame and how you think and how you handle situations, you've won. You can never go backwards if your bad days come up to decent. Who gives a fuck how good your good days are? Karen's fucking little stint will probably last a year, and then she'll be fat again.
It's true.
Fuck Karen.
It's true. What is it always brings it back to, what happens. Doesn't matter about the good days or those weeks that you fucking kill it. What matters the most is what happens on those bad days,
100%.
and how do you handle that? Because that really is the baseline, right? Mm-hmm. It goes back to, again, I probably quoted this probably 15 times in Split Shit Potty, is you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, by James Clear. And in that context, it literally goes back to goals or how we're way of thinking, and however good mood is up here. That's awesome, but it's not going to last. And what does matter is what we fall back down to. What is our baseline? What's our foundation? What's our our frame of way of thinking, or our headspace on those average days, boring, that whatever it may be. That's where it matters. Now, if that baseline improves, you're fucking killing it. You're absolutely killing it. It's incredible. Because I guarantee with people out there that's really winning and celebrating those highs, but they're not addressing the lows. They're dumping like crazy, and then they relapse, and then they yo-yo and stuff like that. And they're always chasing the validation of the next high. That they're trying to be good enough. When if you just focus on, just go back to your baseline, work with that, build that up over time, you'll never be at a loss.
100%. You don't want to be that guy with the yo-yo. You don't want to be doing that. It's not cool, it's not sexy, and it's a little bit cliche.
Did you ever play,
at this point?
Did you ever play with the yo-yo when you were younger?
Yes. Yes, I did. I used to be able to walk the dog.
Me too.
Yeah.
You could do the rocking.
Yeah, the little rock thing. I was never that good. That was pretty much it. That's all I knew how to do. I could do around the world, I think. Can't remember how to do it. But
Don't write that.
that was like it would do a big circle around the world, I guess. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Around the world. Shit.
yeah,
It's a big world.
yeah.
Crazy.
But no, I'm a big fan of yo-yos. Big fan of real yo-yos, not stop again, start again fucking yo-yos.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Not about that. But anyway, that's the app.
That's the episode.
There you go. Danny Blaz with the outro.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Split Shift Potty.
Sorry, that was just very like late night TV of us.
I mean, it does feel like late night TV right now. This thing is blasting my
It's
fucking
very
head.
bright and it's very dark in this room.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Split Shift Podcast. Please like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, leave us a 5 stars. Write your questions down. Tell us about your experiences, what you're dealing with. You can even inbox us on YouTube and Spotify, or you can even DM us directly. This is Last First Step on Instagram and Daniel Blazeski PT on Instagram as well. So questions, send them through, but we always love feedback. That's pretty much it. We're not stopping. We're probably not going to stop ever because we just want to ruffle some feathers, man.
The only thing that stops us is the snow. So
It's true.
And I think we got the best
Probably the weekend.
out of the way.
Yeah.
The best is behind us in that. So
Yeah, if you go on Instagram and you'll see once we do this promo episode, I'm going to throw in a couple of clips there. They're going to be really good.
nice,
So yeah, you'll see what it was all about.
nice.
Unreal. But
Marathons and snow. That's it. They're
Marathon-
they're the only barriers.
that's true. That's actually, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.